what's up, everybody? We're back with another episode of the Buck Junkie Podcast. We're back here at deer camp. Got the normal crew with us today. Guys, what's happening?
What's going on?
It's been cold off enough. We got the pants on this morning.
Man, it feels like fall.
Getting there.
Heck yeah, it's a little chilly.
Trying to push the hoodie weather in.
It was like low 60s this morning when I got up, so I like it.
It was nice this weekend.
Yeah, we was out at the ball game last night. I got cool. I had to break out the hoodie.
Man, I sit outside all weekend long here at camp. We come down, and it's my son's birthday, so we hung out Friday night, Saturday all day watching football and cooking catfish and had a big old time. And then Sunday we watched a little bit of ball games and went on back home, but it was beautiful outside.
And it was. We actually got out and had a fire and everything, put the hoodies on, sat around the fire, watched football games.
Yeah.
It was really nice in the evening times.
You did a little shooting this weekend, didn't you? What were y'all shooting?
We shot 22 pistols. Everybody brought a big pistol with them too, so we shot it, and then we shot 22 rifles.
Okay.
I learned real fast that I need to wear my glasses when I'm shooting now.
Man.
So I think younger boys whooping my tail. I can't see no more.
Can't see. Man, hey, my eyesight's daggum close-ups gone. I got to have them readers now.
Yeah.
Can't see close or far.
I'm
a medium range.
Just me. They better walk right on you, huh?
Yeah. I got to wear my glasses.
Mark still got them young eyes over here.
Don't.
Mark can't see. He just ain't broke down and got glasses yet.
No, I just can't see.
Man,
I wasn't supposed to have my driver's license.
What are you going to do come gun season, man?
What? For hunting?
Yeah, it don't matter that scope.
That's what I got this scope for.
That's his glasses.
Yeah, that's my readers.
Do you think like all the technology stuff we got now hunting that we rely too much on stuff and you just get away from
I guarantee you.
instincts and being able to shoot open sights and
Hunting now, I'll be 50 this year. Hunting now from when I started hunting when I was 7 or 8 years old, we're all sissified. It has nothing
to do with that, Jamie. You just said you're 50. You're old is what it is.
I mean, still everything is.
So what's the biggest things to you that's changed? You've been hunting longer than any of us, Jamie. You're going to be the old man in the room, 50.
Hands
this
down,
year. What's the
buddy heater?
You didn't have a buddy heater when you was 8?
No, Daddy put me in a stand at dark and didn't come back pick me up to dark.
Dang.
That's how
you was Iron Man hunting.
Carried a backpack. If you wanted a sleeping bag in a backpack and snacks or lunch, and you was there.
Would you stay in that stand all day, not get down?
Heck yeah, I was scared. I wasn't getting down.
What about lunch? Did you eat up there or did you get down?
No, I had my stuff. No, I didn't get down. I just hope my stomach didn't hurt. Other than I wasn't getting out of the stand.
So how many days out of hunting season would you do that when you was a kid?
Definitely opening weekend, every week.
So it was just like.
Usually the first 2 weekends like that. And then Daddy would go back on a spell. Usually, of course, everybody makes a big deal out of like Christmas weekend. Yeah. Everybody's off work. And they would usually do the same thing you do on Christmas weekend.
He'd put you up in the stand. And
I hated opening weekend. I hated it. But I mean, think about it. You didn't have cell phones. It ain't like you sit there and get occupied on Facebook or TikTok or whatever.
You're onto something there. That's the biggest thing, I think, having cell phones.
And then I guess me and Thomas and Mikey hunting, I thought it was the stupidest thing ever. When you was doing text that you had to do like ABCC on the phone, you had to keep hitting one to get through. It wasn't like texting now. So it's just like everything is totally different.
What did they call that? Tap text or something where you had to go through the alphabet on the numbers?
If it was like 5, 5, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, you know?
Yeah.
And you didn't have no speed like some LOL or you know what I know or none of that kind of crap. It was you had to type the word out. You wasn't doing abbreviating.
It wasn't no long sentences neither.
No.
Well, so we had walkie-talkies. Did y'all ever use walkie-talkies?
We upgraded. When we run dogs, we had a guy that was on the fire department, and we ended up buying a bunch of old school fire radios. So you didn't have nobody else. It wasn't like
your own channel.
Yeah. And then later on,
really.
Me and Thomas and Woody and all us hunting together, we all bought
talkabouts.
Yeah, I think it was talkabout like walkie-talkies. And they had like 40, 50 channels on, and they worked a whole lot better than like a CB style radio. But yeah, now you wouldn't. If you told a kid you could not carry, they'd rather leave the gun in the truck than they had a cell phone.
Guarantee it.
Well, heck, you look at it like me and Will, I guess last year before last, his phone was dead and I left mine at camp. And you get to worrying. You're like, man, is everybody all right? Like, then like when I was a kid, Daddy put you in the ladder stand, run a belt around me, a boat seat and hold me in there and he was gone,
He went to get in his stand.
Yeah. So, it was, you didn't think about stuff like going wrong. Now it's
we
like
thought,
you're paranoid. You think somebody.
Daddy probably wasn't.
You'd have panic
200 yards from us. He was just out of the line of sight, but we
Yeah.
thought, we was like, we got this whole, we're out in 100 acres by ourselves, man. Hope don't nothing get us or whatever.
And it was colder back then. I'm sorry. It was cold as crap
I
back
guarantee
then.
you it was colder. It felt colder to me.
I'm telling you, never, as a kid, squirrel hunting was my favorite thing.
Oh, we talking about
October
squirrel
1st, you go squirrel hunting. There was no, I never remembered as a kid having the wolves, any squirrels, had to throw them away and all that kind of crap. But now, heck, we was over at the island that one year. It was what, January probably? And you still had some had wolves.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Cell phones, man. That's one of those things that I wish the kids would leave in the freaking truck, especially when they get older, because I guarantee you there's so many deer walk by them kids when we leave them by themselves. Ain't nothing more aggravating than sitting over there and I'll look over and one of the kids will have their phone out and I'll just let the deer come all the way out in the field and get, plumb up under the stand and tell them, hey, you going to hunt? You going to play on that phone all day?
Every time
they raise their head up, where'd those come from? They've been standing out here for 10 minutes. You've been playing.
All right. Let's make a pact right now. Opening weekend.
No cell phones.
No cell phones. We're going to all go buy some old two-way radios again. We're going
we
old
have
school.
some at the shop. We do. I mean, those would
We gotta
work.
figure out how to turn off that. That's what. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. You can't have that Roger beep.
Of them things you would mash up. Somebody call. I got to doe down. And it would go off, and you had to turn it way down.
Yeah, yeah.
We need to do it. We have a
that's a
shelf
good
in there
one.
and put
At
all the
least
phones in
one.
it. You grab your two-way radio. Let's go hunting.
Let's go. No phones.
You know
for
how much
opening-
crap will get talked?
Oh,
Golly.
man.
You need to record them conversations.
Yeah,
What you
that
need
would
to
be a
do.
good one. I mean, I don't know how many times I've put Michael in the stand and I see a deer come by on camera and I was like, Michael, you said deer's buck just went by, whatever. And what deer? He ain't seen nothing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
I get guilty of it too. I sit there and get bored. If ain't nothing going on, I look at my phone.
It's
look
too
at-
easy. If you got signal, like some of our stands, you don't have like South Trump down there.
Yeah.
Their signal sucks. So you might not get your text and you can't look at websites. You have to just sit there and watch like you're supposed to. And I'm guilty of it too. I get on my phone. Nothing's worse. I bought one of those little extra chargers to take with me. I was running my phone battery
Ain't
down.
having battery get dead. And
Oh, yeah. Well, last year we were watching, was it me and you, Mike? Or it was me and somebody was watching football
Me and you
games.
watching
at the stand.
football
Yeah,
games.
it was me and you watching football games in the stand.
Yeah.
I mean,
we hunt real hard.
yeah, that's hard hunting there.
Sometimes they're fun because if it's a slow morning, ain't nothing going on.
Yeah.
God, I'd hate to. I mean, all of us remember those days sitting there for 4 or 5 hours and nothing.
Bored. Yeah.
Just bored to death.
But-
Like, God, I wish somebody come get me.
What cell phones killed in the hunting world when you're talking about that is emotion. Because like when you get a text, got a deer down, you don't know. But when they come over that two-way radio talking about, I got a monster buck, you're missing all
Yeah,
that because you can't
that's
see that in
right.
the text,
But I do like being able to film some because there's been a lot of times where it might not be the best quality or, zoom in the most, but you can flip that cell phone open and go to video and get a lot of stuff, record a lot of deer. I wouldn't be able to do that or take the pictures without
Shit, I'm at
taking a big camera or something,
upgrade. My phone's about as old as I am.
Oh, well, you got that 6 model still?
Nokia.
I got to stop up to 10 now.
We're up there. We're up there on Facebook. Jamie's over playing Snake.
Yeah. Got the Minesweeper or whatever it was I had.
But it is still a lot of stuff's changed, and we always we go back to this. Seems like every other podcast, like it's not what it was when we were kids or younger, and it's
Well, the kids now is between the technology and they got it in their mind. If you're not wearing a $700 Sitka jacket, you're not a deer hunter.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I had
And then
olive green rubber boots with a foam insert, and I'm pretty sure I could have lost a couple toes many a mornings with them things.
My first hunting boots was just some old black rubber boots from the co-op.
Oh, your
Co-op
feet don't
rubber
get no
boots.
colder
yeah,
than
some
that.
concrete boots.
Yeah, that was it. Put on 2 pairs of socks. That'll keep your feet warm. That's what I
No,
was
I don't.
told.
They just get colder.
Oh, Daddy's, I think,
battery operated socks.
I did for Christmas one year.
It too. Big old D batteries on the side of your calf.
They weighed it down. They did not. It was worth nothing.
I'm pretty sure Daddy
I
would
still got
always
them in the attic.
get our boots from Sears. They were
I always
light
got
brown.
the co-op specials.
They might have been, they was light brown on bottom and maybe a dark brown on top, but it had probably 1/2 inch gray felt house insulation pretty
foam
much
insulation
in it.
inside.
And man,
If it wasn't those, it was them ones that were brown rubber on bottom and the light leather on top that had the squiggly. You'd bust your freaking tail. Like the
'Cause
bottom
of
of it would
slick,
get so
yeah.
hard when it was cold. Man, it was like skating. No, it was a.
Were they lace ups or pull ons? Oh.
There's nothing worse.
I guess my first pair of hunting boots I remember buying is a pair of lacrosse. Them old,
when the
first
Burleys come
insulated.
out, that was
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
Cadillac,
that was it. And then
the
later
Rockies.
on, Me and Darren both, we die hard on some Rocky boots, man. I love some Rocky lace up hunting boots. I wore them for years, but it don't matter what my feet's gonna get cold. It don't matter if I spend $50 or $200 on a pair of boots.
Still got.
I'm gonna go buy a pair of muck boots and wear them until they don't last too long hunting and rabbit hunting stuff like that. But you get a couple years, they're light, they're comfortable, and they're warm enough. Everything else, my feet get cold.
Lacrosse is like Malcolm's got.
I've had them for 3-4 seasons now. I got them. Well, I'll tell you how I got those. I got invited to go down to Mossy Oak and do some videos for their wild game butcher stuff.
2 years probably then.
I showed up down there. I didn't know nothing about it. I had on some real tree rubber boots, just some old, it's like they weren't. They were redhead real tree, and that's all they had. And I got them at Bass Pro. It's just some old 3/4 length slip on rubber boots. I was wearing them around camp. It wasn't my hunting boots. And man, I didn't make it to the porch, and they saw them jokers.
They done scouted.
They said, "I can't believe you coming down here. That real tree, another brand." They won't even say real tree. That other brand on, yeah. And that gum, if they didn't send me 2 pair of boots, and one of them was that pair of Lacrosse. Man, I love them. I don't know which model it is, but I've had them. They're in the Mossy Oak. They got the gator things on the side where you can strap them up tight, but they open up wide enough where if you got a big calf, you can get in and out of them super easy. They're warm. My feet have not gotten cold in those boots.
My buck boots they was on their last leg this year. Last year rather. So I know this year I'm going to have to.
Lacrosse makes a boot similar to.
See, I think that's what the ones I got aren't muck. They're the Lacrosse ultralights.
Last year, because I had wore my boots out, and she bought me a pair. I thought they were muck boots, and they say Lacrosse down the side of them. So
are they neoprene up? See, these have more of like a leather to it. They got a little bit of
that Cadora.
Whatever. It's got like a tougher material, so briars and stuff won't tear them up.
It's almost like a snake boot.
Yeah. But the neoprene ones, I like them. The mucks are the lightest, and you can stay on them all day, but they tear. Like you can tear up that neoprene.
Yeah, what boots was it we looked at that time? I don't know if it was me and you or who, but the ones that are made kind of like Crocs, but they're boots. They're called like the One Boot or something. They weigh like 4 ounces. Like they're super, super light, but they're like supposed to be the next thing like the muck, but they're made out of the same like foam material like Crocs are.
So
they're not cheap.
Will and them started wearing them this year. They had those weird colors in them.
Oh,
was it a Tough something or? There's a couple brands like that you're talking about.
What they're called.
They got real popular last year. The kids started wearing them. They'd wear them to school and stuff. But they were deck shoes. I think they were a deck boot originally, weren't they, Mark? Like they wore them on
like
boats.
Fishing boat.
Yeah, extra tough. Ain't that what it's called? It's something like that.
Yeah.
He specifically asked for those, and I remember calling the name, but I don't remember what they were.
There's 2 or 3 brands that are about like that. That's what all them guys are wearing. Huck wasn't one, but that's a fishing brand. But it was some stuff like that.
I'm gonna find it. I gotta find it though.
No, you talking about stuff? I don't remember how long Oak Tree Outdoors been out of business.
Oh shoot!
The hunting coat I wear, that's where I bought it from. I still with a Browning, like 5-in-1. That's what I still hunt. It's on its last leg too. But
the ones I'm talking about are called Light, LITE.
Oh, okay.
Probably went out in 2000, 2001. Probably.
It had to be 20. It had to be 20-something years. That's the first place I ever 3D archery shoot. They had that set up there. They had a really good bow tuning thing in there.
Yeah, they had good guys in there that worked on bows and stuff. And that store was, it was a small store, but man, they had a lot of good stuff in there.
I think Buck and Bass was still open when it was open, wasn't it? So that's how long that's been.
That was really the only 2 places that, other than going to Walmart or something like that, to get stuff.
At the time, it was Bass Pro wasn't here.
Yeah, there wasn't Buck and Bass. Well, they may have just closed.
Yeah, you had Buck and Bass in Memphis, and they had a smaller one in Jackson, Tennessee for a little while.
Yeah, that turned into one of those.
It was Gander Mountain. Yeah. And now it's a Gander Mountain RV place, I think. They don't even do outdoor stuff no more.
No, it's a lot of things people don't. I don't know. I like the old school, like Buck and Bass are kind of small, but like Oak Tree, and even down to Oxford, it's kind of
Hunter's Holler.
It's not. Yeah, I like that feel versus.
Hunter's Holler got a bunch of junk in that building.
I didn't go in there and shop, and then I had Bass Pro personally, but
it's like big box. Bass Pro's the big box hunting store, like the Walmart or whatever. And so Academy's kind of like that with it too. But I'd rather support the mom and pops.
Well, they got stuff in there that you'll actually use. You go to Bass Pro and they'll have freaking bear traps and shark fishing bait. And I'm like, we're in Tennessee and Mississippi. Like, what are you going to do with that?
Yeah. I mean, you pay a little bit more in the mom and pops, but I think you get better service. I mean, if you had to go back and take something back, they're going to work with you, you know.
I think you get better equipment and stuff too, though, you know, because a lot of that stuff that mom and pops carry, we know that from the store, you know, it's
stuff they've
may
actually
have
used.
a Traeger grill, but it's a cheaper,
cheaper model.
knockoff brand or something like that, you know, where we carry the real deal, you know, and those mom and pops will have those. This is like buying clothes from like Mossy Oak or something. You buying like the real deal, but you go to, I'm not knocking Academy. I buy a lot of stuff from Academy. You buy Academy and it's like a cheaper made,
mass produced,
not as good. Yeah. Mass produced freaking piece of clothing. It's probably not going to last that long or not be as good.
The last time I can remember going to Buck and Bass, and this will kind of roll us into the gimmicky stuff, but I remember they had a walk-in cooler sitting outside that was like -40. And remember they had the face mask that had the copper wires in it that's supposed to make you warmer because you breathe.
I do remember that.
Yeah. So I got in it. I put the thing on and got in this -40 cooler and like to froze balls off. And I was still cold. And the guy's like, well, do you feel any warmer? I said, no, it's -40 in there. Like, what are you supposed to feel? But they had some gimmicky stuff. I remember that growing up. Like it was even fishing stuff, the walking worm. They had that, you know, you seen it on seen on TV.
Yeah. Banjo Minna.
What was the grunt call that was made out of rubber? Because it's supposed to be. No, it was like Flexstone, but it was like it looked kind of perverted. But it was a grunt call that's supposed to be like esophagus of a buck. You know, it was like all flexible and
make true tones.
Yeah,
I don't even know if you can buy a old school do nothing but grunt call. Now they're like 14 and 1.
It's like a saxophone for deer hunting.
Yeah, you got to have all the different stuff with bells and
I
whistles.
I lost mine. I hadn't bought another one yet, but I want just plain Jane old school. Just
I've never had luck.
I think they still make the one that you roll the band down where it'll go like dominant buck, young buck doe.
Yeah,
I think they still make that one, but I don't know if they make one that just a single reed.
Had no echo tube on it. You know,
which one do you tote?
Grunt call?
Yeah,
none.
Oh, you don't take one?
Last time I carried one, I don't even remember what brand it was. I usually keep one in my backpack just because I have used them and it's worked like once or twice in 20 something years. But, you know, and I don't even remember the name of it. It may have been something Michael Waddell and them made. I'm pretty sure if it was at Walmart.
Like a bone collector one or something?
Think about them grunt calls in our area and pretty much most 90% of the world is they never get to be that dominant buck. You know, they get got before then. So you go out there, start grunting like a dominant buck. Everything in the woods scared to death of them.
Oh yeah.
They gone.
The only time I had the grunt call like really, really work is I caught a buck with a doe bedded down on the side of the field. I was walking out, you know, it was like middle of the day. I come out and I seen his horns sticking up out of this thicket and I seen him moving his head around and I stopped and sat down. Well, I seen the doe stand up. I seen her head stick up out of the thicket. I said, he's got a doe up there with him. So I started messing with him with the grunt call, reached back there and got it out and started grunting at him. Well, he come out looking for me, but he wouldn't hardly leave that doe. Now he's a couple 200 yards from me, 150 yards from me, but he would come out and I needed him to come out further because I knew there was like a house a couple 100 yards through the woods where he was at. Mm-hmm. And I needed him to kind of come to the right or to the left, you know, so far where I wasn't kind of in line with that house. But anyways, I grunted him out. I grunted him out like 4 times out of that thicket. I let him go in there and then I just give him hell and just piss him off. And he would come out of there looking for me, but he wouldn't come far enough out to, you know, really all the way out. He would just come out far enough where he would look around. He wouldn't see nothing. He'd go back in. And, but he did respond to that, you know, and that was pretty neat to me. I wound up killing him because he got up, the doe busted out. I don't know if she seen me or what. And he run out and right where I needed him to and stood right there for just long enough for me to pop him. But
that was it.
That was it. But that was one of the only times I really had a buck really respond to it. And I think some of it may be like Mark said, you know, just not those you don't have dominant, you know, bucks that are tending or whatever really respond to that, you know, because they're, you know, they are the king dangling in the woods, you know, and they don't want no young bucks messing with their does. So
that and your ratio got to be right, I think
that's a big thing too. If you like last year, we noticed in the plantation plot, we've had that old tight basket rag 8-point. The ratio's better over there. So what he started doing was circling that field. It's a big plot. Well, it's probably 15 acres.
Yeah.
And it's got plantation pine on one side of it. And he would work that plantation pine, checking that field in different spots. And you could blow a grunt call and he would come out and check, but he would always be 100, 150 yards down from where he was. And then also that same plot last year, I had one in the ditch behind us, and that dude got
They sound wicked in that ditch.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that ditch makes him echo or what, but he was grunting back at me, but I never could get him to pop up to where I could see him. And that's the 2 times I played with one. And then there was another one we were down there, and you were hunting with me over at the pond, and I was back at when we had the Trump stand back in the original spot, and that little basket rack 10 point that I ended up shooting I shouldn't have. First time I'd ever blowed a grunt call and had it what I call success. I saw that little buck was about 3 does, and he was going wherever they were going. And then I would get back on that call, and he'd come back to the plot every time and see what it was. And so I did it, I don't know, probably for 30 minutes. Every few minutes I was hitting that call, just trying to make him mad, like you're talking about. And that jerker would come up and brush up, and I'd get to looking at him. And I'd never shot a 10-point deer at that point. I mean, I thought this was a monster, to me. I could count them. I didn't have binoculars with me. That's before I took your advice and started taking binoculars. I had my scope on him. So every time he'd jump up, and I'd go 1, 2, 3, 10. Oh, and I said, no, not yet. And then he'd go on, and then I'd say, I'd see something moving, them does running around. I'd blow it again. Here he'd come again. That jerker's getting mad. Finally, I said, if he comes back one more time, that's him. And he did, and I shot him, and oh man, you talk about shrinkage. He had 10 points, but dang, that jerker.
He was 10 inches wide with 10 points.
10 inches wide, 10. Man, there's no telling. That deer had so much potential if I hadn't killed him. That's one I wish I could take back, because I think that was the very first year we hunted here.
Second year we hunted here.
Probably the second or third set. It was early in the season. I think it was still November, wasn't it? I don't even know if it was December yet.
Yeah, because it wasn't that cold out then.
Yeah, and we barely got that property in time for hunting season. Well, actually, we bow hunted at one time, but that was fun with the grunt call. I mean, they can be fun. Like if you're blowing one and they're responding to you, it'll get you excited. It'll get you trigger happy, man. You'll be ready to shoot something.
I try to blow one every now and then, just to see what happens. You know what I mean? I always try to test. I'll test anything.
Yeah. You get those snort wheeze. See, that's the one I got. It's got the thing on top.
I've never heard a deer do that. Never.
You never heard one do? Oh, dude, they smooth.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you need to go hunt plantation.
Like Darren,
they'll put on a show for you there.
They hear them do all kinds. I mean, which their ratio is different there also, but they're very vocal over there.
Them bucks get mad, boy. They'll put that I caught one last year making a scrape over there. He come out of that ditch and started scraping, and I hit that and then that jerker, he blowed up. I was like, look at this little jerker. He went with a little 8-point, and he was doing it.
I enjoy watching them.
That's the coolest thing about hunting down now. For other places I've hunted, a lot of government land and some private land, smaller places. We never had deer act like deer are supposed to act like they do right in here. I don't know what it is. But before I ever got this property, my buddy Chuck, he was like, man, the deer will come to rattling horns down there. They'll, respond to calls. You're going to see them doing all the stuff deer are supposed to be doing in the wild. And I don't know if it's because ratio of the deer, the bucks just do that here. It's more aggressive. Do what?
It'd be a lot with hunting pressure too.
Yeah, a lot of pressure. Yeah.
When you look at the difference in behind camp versus down the road, they act completely different down the road than they do behind camp.
That's right.
And you're only talking not even a mile.
Yeah, not even a mile.
I've never carried. I'll take that back. I might have carried rattling horns to stand. I've never rattled and just like you see on TV, old Boone and Crockett come busting out.
That's one thing I haven't done either. I want to do it like Bucks of Tecumate style.
Yeah.
They're out there standing by the bushes.
Kick them about 2 times and here they come.
Yeah, rub them on the ground in the bush.
I'll break you of that. We'll have to get Emily's dad on here to talk about his rattling horn experience.
Oh, has he got a good one?
He's got a heck of experience.
He had a set. It was actually a buck he killed when he was a kid. He had them tied together, and they moved up here to Hernando, I don't know, in 2000. And they got a couple of acres, and he's seen some bucks right there behind the house. So he just went behind his house, and he had them in his backpack. When he's coming out, he slipped and fell. Oh. And that antler went through the backpack, through his clothing, and in his ribs. And he had to go all the way to the hospital that way.
Holy smoke, really?
And I mean, it punctured him. It went in a couple of inches, and I mean, he didn't, you didn't say not to pull nothing out or anything like that. So he went all the way to the hospital, and he still got it. They cut his shirts and all his clothing. It's still stuck to his horns.
It's all still
hanging behind his chair in his house.
He ain't used them. He ain't took them rattling horns since.
Do you think about that though? I would.
Well, when you see most people, they just throw them over their shoulder or on their bag when they're walking through the woods.
That's what he had them tied, and he had the string thrown over his shoulder. When he slipped going down the bank, he fell back. And it stuck him.
Impaled himself. I just got the bag. I mean, I got the gimmicks. I ain't gonna lie. I buy all that stuff. I buy all that
seen
stuff.
on TV.
Yeah, that's seen.
Have you seen? All right, so buck bombs. That is one thing that I've had success with, and I'm not saying killed a buck. I'm saying
You've had success blowing it all over me.
Yeah, that's always entertaining too.
No, go ahead.
But I've had more deer, and I think it's curiosity. It's not because they smelling. Oh, that's a doe estrus. They smell something different they're not used to smelling. And I've had them go out there and fool with the can on the ground, But have you seen the one now that Bluetooths to your phone, and it's a little tripod you set in the field, and you can control it with your phone?
When you want it to release,
you spray.
You need to go and order that, Mark.
Technology.
Put it to the test this year. Does it work? Buck Junkies, does it work?
No, what we're gonna do is hide and put it in your stand. I'll be in the other stand. I'll be spraying it. You'll be like, "What is that smell?"
That'd be so dirty if you rigged it up on a limb by somebody. We're just blowing the window every once in a while.
Well, have you done that? What's that? Liquid ass fart spray?
Oh, yeah. Liquid ass.
No, it never fails. I'll have a buck bomb. I was like, I forget to put it out. You're gonna spray it out the box stand. It's finna come in the window beside you.
Every single
Make sure you got the
time.
correct window.
It don't come in Mark's window. It comes in mine. It's been choking me out.
I've had one that go off my backpack.
on that junk, and it might have worked once. But
I've had them several. Like I bought they got one that's like almost like silly string as a foam.
Yeah.
That's the buck bomb gel or whatever.
I've got it like put it on limb by a scrape or something. I've had deer, buck, does both come up and smell it and check it out. But as far as I don't necessarily think that drew them to it. They was there anyway. Gonna stop that scrape anyway. But
I look at it more as a cover scent than anything.
So I was going to say, what do y'all think about cover scents? Like putting it on your boots or drags going in? Or,
so
you use it or
helps.
use it while you're in the stand as a cover scent?
See, I'll do like if I'm in a stand, the wind's blowing kind of jacked up, I'll just spray it on outside the box stand. Like spray it on the stand itself to where it's something that's kind of, it may not do crap.
What was you always told that a deer, if you wore rubber boots, couldn't smell? Correct?
Yeah, because you got rubber boots, right?
All right. So our rabbit dogs, we wear rubber boots 99% of the time rabbit hunting. Our rabbit dogs can track you to the T. So if a dog can smell just rubber boots, you gotta think. Not saying it can't. Not saying I'm saying a scent could stay attached to rubber.
I think so too. I ain't buying it that it don't.
I mean, I can see where leather would carry a scent further than rubber will.
Yeah, rabbit dogs, they'll. Yeah,
Well, do y'all believe in cover scent? Using cover scents to go to your stand? And
I do. I mean, I've used it. I've used it for years, but not to the point of like it's going to keep the deer from smelling me if the wind's in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Regardless,
I mean,
you still got to play the wind.
Right. I mean, the main thing was like putting it on my boots or spraying down. Like if I was going to walk through the woods, brushing on limbs or something like that, maybe it confuses them. They don't just, they don't think, well, that is Mikey coming down here to go to his deer stand. Well, I'm not sure what that is. And maybe they'll keep on going. I think they still can kind of pick you. I know they can still pick you up even though you got cover scent.
I've noticed
But
it
I
more.
think it helps you a little bit.
Hunting plantation, walking in along that ditch from both sides, have a deer step out of that ditch and hit where you walked, they throw the brakes on. I mean, instantly.
They end up crossing it, or do they end up going back?
Heck no.
Really?
I mean, you see something. That's another thing. It's like I've been sitting there before and had one come up, smell where we crossed or walked in, not pay a bit of attention to it, walk on by, and 5 minutes later, another deer come through and they hate it.
Yeah.
They ain't studying it.
Well, that's a good example because that stand there's no way to get to it.
You have to walk down
walking in where deer are gonna. I mean, a lot of times they come. I don't know how many deer I've seen come that way where you walk in from that stand. So you got one choice: you either drive in and try to park close, or either drive down and walk, 200 yards or whatever it is, maybe 250.
You're the opposite of me now that I think about it. When you've hunted that stand and shot deer out of it, have you shot it out of the left side or the right side?
Both, but mostly left.
See, all mine's been out of the right.
Right, yeah.
I've never shot a deer on the left side of the field.
The only right side would be that big 6. The other ones I've shot out of have been on the left every time. Or
I think Michael's the same way. Everyone he shot's been out of the left.
Yeah. You're the only one that really kills them out of the right. I see them out of the right all the time.
Let's say that, the biggest deer I've seen at plantation been always out of the right side.
Right, really.
I've seen some bucks on the left side, but the right side is where they come from.
Yeah. They come from all sides.
Could be coincidence, but I just
they come all sides in that stand. I mean, I've seen them from every angle, even right up under you. I would know for the most, if I had to say the most part where they cross, the biggest place would be to the right, but they're always coming from the left too. You have to watch everywhere. You just can't, I mean, they don't really come right behind you, But what I have noticed there is like the side by side. If you park it way down where we left that little cane cut out, where there's a place to park it, sometimes they see it, sometimes they don't. And 9 times out of 10, if they get to where they can see that plain as day, they're gone. They bust out. They won't stick around with that sitting there. So really, you need to be the best angle of that stand would be to be dropped off at it and get out of there, because it don't seem to bother them crossing where it's drove. It's if they can see a vehicle of any kind, you know. So if you drive through there and somebody drops you off, you hadn't left any foot smell. The vehicle smell, that's just something. Yeah, that's just something they know.
Well, that one morning we got out here and it was pouring down rain. We rode it to the stand.
Yeah.
And parked it right
out there. Yeah. And we saw deer all morning.
Yeah, all morning. And I mean, you had a few look over at it, but it wasn't like concerning, you know.
I think it is proximity too. Like they don't get scared unless they're, 50 yards from it. Because I've had that happen at South Trump too. I've had it parked up in the woods and, not close to the stand really, but when they see it, they're gone.
Yeah.
Just because they know it's not there all the time. It'd be different. It's not like a stand. Like they're used to seeing that box there.
I think they associate it with us because they see us on it. Yeah. Whether you see them or not, when we ride through on the main roads or whatever, they see us on it. They'll be standing on the edge of the thicket. 3D
printed cutouts and put a side by side of every stand. Leave it out there year round.
I mean, if you had shapes of humans out there, they'd eventually get used to it. Like if you had them in your stands.
I've heard people leaving orange vests like hanging on their chair inside so it looks like it's stand or ladder stand or whatever. So you're used to seeing that.
Yeah. Now they will silhouette you.
Because it's just shape. So what do you think they go by? What's the most? Their sense, their hear, or their sight? What do you think's the biggest factor in spooking deer out?
Yeah.
Smell? Yeah. I would think.
Because they're using that as their first alert.
Yeah. I would think so too. Because a lot of times that's what throws them on.
Yeah.
And then they sit there and look at you until they see
noise,
you.
But if he smells you,
the noise,
it's over.
The noise isn't as big as you would think. Because I've ducked my head and sneezed and coughed and talked, and they or drop a gun or a phone or anything. And they'll hear a bang. They'll hear a bang or something. Yeah. And it'll get their, they're keyed in on you, but until they either smell you or see you, it's gone. A lot of times what I've seen with sight is, they'll notice something's off at the stand. Like they'll do it at South Trump just because the windows are so big. They'll look up in there and they'll wait till they see something. If they see something, they'll start coming closer and closer until they get a wind, or they'll work downwind. The first odor they get, them jerkers are gone.
So on that, I said something about it earlier. We do all this figuring deer out. You think they figure us out?
Oh, I think so.
100%.
I think they know something inertly in them. Like
they know when
it's getting close to more. Well, it's probably just
it's more activity
in the woods. Yeah. I think that's what it is. They know it's coming up. They start having to move around more because it's breeding time, and they just are more alert. Like it's time.
I think 100%. They know when you start your 4-wheel up or when you get out and walk down at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Yeah, I think they pattern you just like you try to figure them out.
Oh, they see you way more than you see them. Yeah, hands down. It's been plenty of times, like especially Hilltop. It's been mornings I got in that stand and it starts getting daylight and you start looking and there's 4 or 5 deer bedded down out there. They've been sitting there 30 minutes that you didn't see in that sage grass till they finally give you a little peek of something. And they watched you walk in and do everything else.
We had one like that, man. You hunted that stand. It was like that deer had been there, I guess, the whole time. That was an evening hunt.
It was broad daylight we walked in.
He's finally just stood up. I said, Mark, that deer's been, it was a little buck, wasn't it? He had been laying there for probably 2.5, 3 hours while we were in the stand. And we weren't being quiet. I mean, we didn't see no. We were just cutting up, I was like, and he stood up and we both looked at each other. It's like, dang, that deer's been there the whole time.
No, there's plenty of times you ride in or walk in and you walk right by one of them and you never know it, but they know you're there.
Yeah.
That's what I was listening to. I love listening, watching Seek One do all the urban city hunting. And that's what he's saying. Of course, they got cameras out and they find the deer, their target buck or whatever. They said your most successful hunt is the very first time. But after that, the same thing. Like we get in the habit of it. We see a deer out of the stand. What do? We go back to the same stand every morning, every afternoon, every morning, every afternoon. We're steady contaminating it with our scent. And like I say, them deer are figuring out you going to that stand every day. So they're going to reroute their plan or their trail or whatever. They're not going.
That's a good question right there. How long? So you say you spook a buck or he makes you in a stand. How long do you think it would be before he would go back to that same area?
I think it depends on time.
I say minimum 2. I say minimum 2 weeks probably.
If it's rut, I don't think they bat eye.
Yeah, well, they don't pay attention then.
Yeah.
Because they could be anywhere then.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a mature buck, I don't think he'll come back through.
If it's late season, mid-January, you do
he
it.
ain't coming back?
I don't think he'll come back.
I think it'd be.
If he does, he's not going to come to that certain spot where he saw you. He's going to dodge it and go around it.
Yeah.
I think it kind of depends on what's around the deer, where they're staying at, or how they can do that. I've seen deer that I know I spooked out, and I went back the next day and I killed it.
And they the same buck?
Yeah, same deer. Yeah.
What about, all right, so you got your favorite restaurant in Memphis. You go up there to get dinner one night. You get shot at. You going back to that
I
restaurant?
ain't going back.
For lunch
Exactly.
and dinner.
Yeah. It's going to be a minute.
I'll let that one air out for a minute.
Let that air out.
Yeah, I think it depends on the deer. Because, I mean, like Jamie was saying, I mean, I've spooked certain bucks before and come back a couple of days later and there they were back in the field. But they weren't big, mature bucks. You know, I don't know that many times that I've jumped or spooked a big buck that ever seen him.
Never seen it again.
Well, I think, too, it depends on, did he actually make you? Did he make you out? Does he know it was you sitting there, or was it just something not right? Hey, I'm going to check out for a minute.
He
You know,
just caught
how bad
whiff
did you really spook him?
Yeah, I could see that too.
But have you not ever had a deer come out, and I was on a bad street for a while, and you seen a deer come out and you shoot at it and you miss it and it stands there long enough to shoot it again? I've literally shot a deer with a muzzleloader and flat out missed it. Hit a branch before it got there. I found that out later, and I reloaded that muzzleloader and shot and killed the deer, and it never.
He didn't know you shot at it.
It was eating. It had 2 does with it. It was eating acorns, and never. It jumped, but none of them run off.
Wow, they must have been hungry.
How big was the deer, Jamie?
Man, that's a freaking stud.
No, it wasn't. Every big deer I ever shot at and missed, that jogger didn't check it.
Well,
he was gone.
No, I take that back. No, I didn't miss that deer.
Yeah.
I think
I'll take that back. I watched Michael do it last 2 years when he killed that 8 point and he hit that other deer and we didn't realize he hit it. Those deer were all together and he shot one of them and it ran off and some of them scattered, some of them stayed. The biggest buck stayed and I said, you just flat missed, shoot that buck. That's the big one. And he shot
I think
that
a gunshot just isn't a long enough disturbance. I mean, it's a quick pile.
Yeah.
Like
it's not moving around the stand.
Right.
Now, if it hits pops the ground or a tree limb right beside them, yeah, that might be totally different.
But I have noticed, like in the field, they will get disoriented over a shot too because they
don't know where it comes from.
Before.
Yeah.
When he was little, you know, he had 3 big bucks out there and he fired 4 or 5 shots. Well, the bullet was hitting the trees behind them, so they couldn't go back in where they heard it from. So they were like, the shot came this way, but there's noise back here, so.
We don't know where
they kind of scampered around and moved over here, and he got a few shots off at him out there in that field, but we were a long ways away from them too. So I think it disorients them not knowing where that gunshot came from. But like in the woods, they can pretty much pinpoint where it came from in there because you got all the trees.
That echoes.
Sound. Yeah.
What do you think about when you're getting down? You got deer in the field. Do y'all try to make some noise before you get down, or do you just go on and get down? Because at night. You really can't tell. One. Yeah. Daytime, I can see you getting out of the stand. I
try to be quiet getting out of the stand because I don't want to, and this is my theory, I don't want them pinpointing where I was at, especially in the climbing stand. And once I get down and start moving, there's no possibility they're going to see you. They ain't no way around it. But they might not know exactly
what it is because it's dark too.
So last year, me and Emily went one evening, and it was on plantation where that would have been the first year we done growing the wall all the way around it. There was deer in the field when we pulled up. I looked at them with the binoculars. We made it to the stand. Cause I told her, I was like, they'll be out here. If they're going to be there till dark, they're going to stay out there and eat if nothing gets them off the field. We got to get to the stand. So we were quiet. We made it to the stand, walked up on a coyote at the bottom of the stand. He never ran. We shot and killed the coyote, got in the stand. And when I got in the stand, the deer were still in the field after we shot and killed that coyote.
And they never left.
Because I couldn't see them because of growing a wall. I couldn't see over it. So I didn't know if I was like, they're not out there. When we got in the stand, look, they were still there. When we got down, there was deer in the field at dark. We got to the side by side and I looked one more time through the binoculars and you could see their silhouettes.
That's sanctuary right there. They feel safe if they ain't leaving that.
Now, granted, I'm sure some of them heard us get out. It was pitch black dark. We got out, but
the egress of that stand's good though, because of that stuff's so tall around it. And if you can get down the first 4 steps, you're back to cover.
And that goes back to they probably never smelled us, or they would have been gone.
Yeah,
they might have heard us walking, but they couldn't see us, so they wasn't on high alert like we were talking. Like I think you gotta you got to check a few of those boxes before them deer say, hey, something's up. Like they're not just going to get up and run at the drop of a hat. They're going to have other things tell them, they're going to smell you and see you. They're going to see you and hear you. It's going to take more than one, I think. But
yeah, I can't stand getting down out of the stand, especially in the daytime. It's easy because you can just sit there till they're gone.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if I'm seeing deer, I'm not likely to get down anyway.
Anyway, at daytime.
But at night, I mean, what do you do? I mean, there's a field full of deer out there and you don't want to run them off. So
you don't want to sit there at 10 o'clock either.
Yeah, you don't want to sit there till 10 o'clock if they're still, and then you don't know because you can't see
unless
them,
you're whaling.
Yeah.
He'll sit there till pitch black, won't he? He's got the big riverboat binoculars. He says, I can see good when the moon's out.
I don't know. I'm the opposite of that. Because in the evening time, it gets dark. It's time to get down.
So do you my eyes are bad, Mark, and I can't,
even
though somebody could see through my scope, I can't see. And once I can't see through my scope, I check.
If I have to question it, I'm getting down.
Yeah, that's me too. If I couldn't tell if it was a decent buck
and I'd much rather get down. Like if I realize, okay, like this would be a questionable shot. I'd much rather go ahead and get down then when it's still a little daylight and you kind of know what's out there and you know what you're spooking or not spooking.
Instead of setting to dark and risking what stuff's coming to the field. Right, that's the one thing at night. You're hunting food plots, they're coming to that food plot.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I've gotten down earlier than I should have in the past because the deer would come in and go out, and I kind of seen an opportunity there to slip out when there was nothing in the field and eased on out because it was getting that marginal time to shoot anyway. So I'm like, I'm not setting the black dark, chancing one busting me. So it feels empty. I'm getting down.
But see, that's what I was saying is like, I'd rather hunt, like to me in the evenings, it gets dark. It tells you just time to get down. Well, in the mornings, I'm always like, well, I sit here 10 more minutes. I might see something. I sit here 10 more minutes. And then lo and behold, it's 12 o'clock. Like, well, but just a few more minutes, Then it feels like as soon as you get down, like, oh, that was your chance. You should have stayed 5 more minutes.
There's been times like you did that with Will. I think that was the day y'all didn't have phones.
Yeah.
And y'all finally just decided to get down, and the deer probably knew it was time to get down, and you slipped around to pick up Will, and you killed the buck. Yeah.
He's still mad at me about that.
That's the one of
he ain't mad about that.
Podcast I was listening to. A guy done a study on several different hunting clubs about bigger deer, mature deer that was killed, and almost every one of them was midday. As far as morning hunt versus evening hunt, midday hunt produced
midday,
especially in the rut, and that's what it was that day. Was kicking the rut off. It's hard to make yourself leave, especially in the rut, because they might come busting through there at 11:30, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. Who knows? It's just like last year, which it wasn't the rut, but we killed them does. I shot that doe at 2:15. I mean, it was early in the day. Y'all ain't even got to the stand yet, I don't think.
What's your favorite time to be in the stand? You want to be there before daylight?
Yes. So I want to be there where that sun's coming up and it's frosty, and that's the best time.
See, mine's the evening. I've killed more deer in the evening than I have.
Never been an evening.
I love hunting in the evening, but there's nothing better than it's pitch black dark and that sun comes up. It's a good frost on the ground, maybe a little fog. Sun starts coming out. It's like the world wakes up.
I see a ton of deer in the morning. I just don't. I see a ton of them, but the bigger bucks I've seen slipping around in the evening. I call it prime time. It's that 15 minutes before that last 30. And that's when it hits that time right there, everything starts coming alive. It's like, being, I don't know what it is, the creatures of the night coming out, Jack.
I think it's food plots play a factor on that too.
Yeah.
They're coming in to eat in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Or feed at night or whatever too.
That's like if y'all hunt more hardwoods, in trees.
There's nothing better than that.
Yeah.
You probably don't. We hunted, Stanleys for years and, government woods and all like that. So we wasn't over fields and, food.
You hunted acres.
Things like that. So we were hunting acres. And so, and I've hunted at those places multiple times in the evening times, and it just don't produce. It's not as productive as it is sitting on a bean field or a cornfield or a food plot
in the
evening times. You're not saying you won't see deer, won't kill a deer. It's just that those morning hunts and midday hunts in those woods and stuff is a lot different than sitting on the field.
Total sense though, because they're not in those food plots feeding them in the morning. They're headed to the woods, then headed to the thick bedding. So you're going to see them in the mornings, coming from the bigger plots, going through the woods, and then filtering back to wherever they're laying down.
But I mean, the morning hunts are to me, that's I don't know. You always, it's the unknown as the sun comes up. Is that big deer standing in the field? Is he standing out here? You know, and especially all the stuff you hear around you in the morning. It's all business in the mornings for me. It's fun in the evenings, but it's all business in the morning. I'm straight hunting and I'm on high alert.
I mean, that's how we grew up hunting. Like, Daddy was a morning hunter. Like, we would get up at the crack of dawn, drive over to Highway 30, walk in pitch black dark. I'd be down there in tears because my nose would be so cold. And he had his 308 and his muzzleloader both had a darn butterbean sight on the end. It'd hang every limb. Of course, he would walk and it'd pop you right in the face, you know. But we grew up hunting in the mornings. Yeah. Like, we didn't hunt evenings that much down at camp. I mean, a couple of people did, but it wasn't like a daily thing. Usually in the evenings, we was cooking. You know, we was eating something. And then plus, every time I'd have to go hunting in the evenings, I was a kid, and I'd go with Mikey or Thomas or somebody like that, and they'd wait till it was pitch black dark, and I was scared to death, you know. I like going with Jamie because he's going to get down by the time I want to get down, you know.
4:30. Well, we're going to call it.
I don't know. I enjoy it. It's more of just being out there than anything. You know, we always say that, but I mean, that's the case.
Heck yeah.
You give me a good snow, oh, it's game on then. That's definitely my favorite.
Yeah. Snow, you can sit there for a long time if there's snow on the ground too. It stays so lit up.
I don't think me and you've ever missed a snow hunt.
I don't. The best one we had was that you were coming back from Illinois or Indiana that day, and me and Mikey were down there with the kids. That was a good day. But we had another good one over here on Fog Road too.
I don't know. I think snow, it feels like, and you really can't. You think you can see the deer better.
So I tell you what, the persimmons are loaded this year, and I did the old test this past weekend too. I cut the seed open. It says we're going to be shoveling. Every seed I cut, I grabbed, 3 or 4 persimmons and took seeds out of each one, kind of let them sit there and dry. And it's pretty hard to split one in half.
You cut your finger off, you watch.
But you split it in half, and whatever, it's either a spoon or a fork or a knife.
Yeah.
And that's
spoon shoveling snow. Fork is,
what's the fork?
The knife is so cold it's going to cut through you or something like that.
The wind's so cold. It's going to be a windy winter. If it's a knife, it'll be cutting winds. And I forget what the fork is. It's, I guess it's mild. I don't know. But it ain't shoveling.
I've seen several forecasts say it's going to be
I
wish we could just
get
snow that hung around for a little while. You know,
still that one dayer.
Yeah, because I mean, usually we have that cold front will come through and it'll drop snow, and we've had it for a couple of days.
Yeah,
you know, at the most.
You want to get snowed in?
It goes back up to 60 degrees.
You want to get snowed in at camp for like a week?
Yeah, I would love to get snowed in for a week and just
we're getting tired of milk bread soup.
Shoot, we're beating deer, boy. We're going.
So
we're going up out here on the back porch.
Yeah. Me and Mikey want to get us some snowshoes. We have them tied up out there. We got to put them on our boots. And
I don't want us to deep. We can't ride the 4-wheeler.
Yeah. We're taking the Can-Am through it. It'd have to be pretty deep for that thing not to go.
So fork is a mild winter. Spoon, there will be lots of snow. Knife, winter will be bitingly cold and cut like a knife.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have a spoon. This will be shoveling this year. If that says anything. Do y'all believe it?
We always get our big snows after hunting season, though. That's the thing.
I know, February.
Yeah.
Well, y'all did it last year, and it was a spoon last year, and we got snow.
Yeah, we got snow last year. It was pretty early snow, too.
I don't know if the winter was really
before Christmas.
Cold. We kind of had
I don't remember. I mean, I don't remember duck hunting. It never was that cold duck hunting last year.
It got real cold for a couple of days last year.
It got pretty cold, but it didn't it wasn't like.
We had duck holes froze up.
Did y'all, we didn't have to bust lots any days I went. Did y'all? The days you went, you did?
Speaking of, I got to get some stuff planted down there.
Yeah. Start working on that blind, too.
Yeah. We got the trailer ready.
Yeah. So, me and Mikey are headed to the World Squirrel Cook Off this weekend. Yeah. Where's it at? Springdale, Arkansas. I got to look real quick because I looked up the town a while ago to see where it is. Hold on. I'm going to tell y'all. In case you're in the area. It is September 23rd at Ozarks Highlands Nature Center in Springdale, Arkansas.
That's a haul, too.
It's a long way over there. It's like 5 hours from here, Mikey.
5 hours ain't nothing.
Well, y'all are going 5 hours? Where
4.
To Murfreesboro, Illinois. Cook barbecue.
So what all is
so I told
associated with this?
So I got invited to judge it, and I thought it would be cool. I heard him talking about it on the Meat Eater podcast, and I kind of know Squirrel Man himself, Joe. He's the one that kind of helps them put it on. And he was at our friends Townsend Spice.
He's a bidet salesman.
Yeah. No, I think he works for Sam's or Walmart or something like that up there in Bentonville, which isn't far. But he's been putting on this squirrel contest. I guess they've been doing it a lot of years. And he said, and he wanted to know if I wanted to come judge it. Cause I heard they were talking about Clay Newcomb, the Bear Grease guy that's buddies with Brunella. He judged it last year. And there's a couple other guys on their podcast that judged it. And it just sounded like it was fun, man. The entries, like you think Squirrel Cook Off, and we're going to talk about what squirrel recipes.
I think just a bunch of fried squirrel.
They said, man, they do. You see everything from chef creations with squirrel to the traditional squirrel, like cooked down with gravy or whatever. But I'm expecting a little bit of everything. But I found out they're having a squirrel skinning contest and a squirrel shoot off. And I'm bringing a ringer. Mikey's going with me. He's going to jump in.
Bring my reading glasses.
We're going to have to we got to get you an eye patch and then one thing with binocular for that one eye so you can see the sight.
Hey, I ought to go over there. Yeah, give me a patch. Let me get one of them gloves like the pool players wear and all that. Let me go out there.
Get you
whatever BB guns are shooting Daisy. We'll find a shirt on the internet that says Daisy sponsored.
Yeah, sponsored by Daisy. They are. They're Daisy 599s, I think. Pellet rifles. I'm gonna have to buy me a t-shirt. I'll bring back a t-shirt to give away on the podcast too. Somebody can send us their best squirrel picture or something, and we'll. I gotta find that one. You still got that one from last year we took on that squirrel hunt? Oh, we got invited back to that. Jamie. No, I had one Jamie had. He had a stud black squirrel.
Yeah.
That joker had a rig on him, boy. It was a set.
Forgot about that.
That'd be a winning squirrel picture right there.
Gee, that joker in a sack full of
potatoes. But look, they've got their own squirrel beer. It's called Squirrel Brawl, like Lowenbrow, Squirrel Brawl.
That don't even sound good.
It's just a squirrel with like a. I'll take a picture of it while we're over there. I'm sure me and Mikey will find one to try.
You're
gonna get the video.
Well, you're going to be judging, so I won't be with you. So I got to do something to occupy myself.
I'm going to try to take some, if they'll let me, take some pictures of some of these squirrel entries and see what they're doing. But they're judging. The judging was pretty simple, but it was like they're judged on presentation, whether they use squirrel. Like 80% of the recipe is supposed to be squirrel, so it's not like you can just
load
fudge
up
something. Yeah.
All I can picture is when I was a kid, my granddaddy used to boil squirrel, and he'd open that pot, and them old eyes would be looking at you. You're going to open that turning box. That's what you're gonna see.
My papa used to eat squirrel brains, and he would have the heads cooked, and he'd pop it over and get those squirrel brain out with eggs.
It was a guy that worked with me. He worked at a metal foundry over in Hollow Branch or Bahia, but he said there was a fellow that walked around that worked with him, and he thought he had a jawbreaker in his mouth. He was rolling it around in his mouth right after lunch. He said, man, will you quit clicking that thing on your teeth? He said, what is that? Just spit that thing out. It's aggravating me. And he said he spit it out, and it was a full squirrel head.
Oh, no.
He'd
been chewing on it?
He'd been chewing on it. Man.
Working it. Oh,
he was like, man, I went to gagging. He said that thing still had eyeballs. He said it was a full head.
Why do they cook them with eyes? Is it too hard to get the eyes and stuff out?
I don't know what they do that for.
I don't know.
Let's try it.
You'd cook something? Would you eat squirrel brain?
I tried it if everybody else tried it.
We'll do
would y'all try it? Would you try it, Jamie?
We're going to do the squirrel brain, stinky fish contest.
I'd try it.
Yeah. You try it?
I'd try it.
I would try the squirrel brain hands down before I mess with that fish.
It's going to have to catch me on a good Friday night after we've, been riding around a little bit, had a few cool pops, maybe some Fireball. I don't know, man. Just eat
I would try them if they were like sauteed in a skillet or something like that. I don't know about boiled. I don't like boiled meat anyway.
Yeah.
Just
you boil that old head and you pop with that spoon, juice come blowing all out. See,
that's what I don't know. Yeah.
You know what I'm visualizing? You remember?
I wish I would.
You used to go to rent a movie. And it had Faces of Death. And
that's what I'm thinking. Coming up and popping his head through the table. That's exactly what I'm thinking, Jamie. That's what it reminds me of, popping it like that. Exactly.
So you cut the head off squirrel.
Yeah.
Got to get the hide off of it.
You skin them first.
Hold it. Pop the head with a spoon.
I guess so.
Oh, my granddad, if he was alive, he'd be down for it.
He'd do squirrel brains and eggs.
That's what my papa would do. He loved it. I think it's got high in cholesterol, though. That's what we stopped eating.
It'd be 90-something.
My papa did, too. I think he was 92.
I'll be doing good if I make it to 55 or 60.
Well, that got me to thinking, though, since they're having the squirrel cook-off, why can't we do a coon cook-off here? We got plenty of them rascals.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a bunch of Crockets.
Yeah. You get his coon any way you can do it.
Ours has got to be marbled by now.
Oh,
They got to be like the Wagyu of coons.
I don't know. You think?
Got to be. They've
Some
been out
big
there eating
ones.
all that sorghum and everything else.
Yeah.
Oh, coons. It is a bunch of coons down here.
Have y'all ate coon before?
I've ate a bunch of them.
I've had it baked. That's about the only way I've ever had it. Like baked with barbecue sauce.
We had coon dogs ever since I was
So y'all,
little.
you grew up eating coon?
Mhm.
This guy, he baked it in the oven for a little bit, and then he put it on the grill and kind of got a little smoke taste to it and barbecue salted it up. And it was actually pretty daggone good.
That's the only way I remember it.
It's got to be, I'm sure it's just like anything else. You got glands, you got to get out and stuff like that. But I've never dressed a coon and personally cooked one. But
I skin one.
try it.
Skin it just like anything else. Wring his feet and go to cutting
They
it
do
off,
have
rip it
glands in
down.
them that you got to get out.
They got what?
Glands,
Oh.
like under their arms and their
Yeah.
pits and stuff like that. You got to get those out. If you cook them with those in them, they about ain't fitting to eat.
Yeah. So let's talk squirrel recipes. If y'all were going to enter the squirrel contest, what would y'all do? Or what's a good squirrel recipe? What's your best squirrel recipe?
Man, I do old school. I'd have to quarter it and fry it just like rabbit or anything else.
Yeah. So fried squirrel, smothered in gravy, or just
I don't like it smothered on. I like my fried squirrel or rabbit, whatever, on the side, and then potatoes and gravy on the other side. I don't.
So you do mashed potatoes, gravy, and fried squirrel.
Old school.
What's the best part of the squirrel? Is it shoulder or
The back.
saddle or the back? That's called the saddle, right?
Yeah.
Middle part.
That's the same thing on rabbit.
Yeah.
Back meat on a rabbit, man. That's my wife's mama, because she can fry some of it. It's sure enough good.
I'd have to go.
All right, Mark, what's your recipe for
I'd have to go out in left field because everybody's going to do something similar to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Might do like some Asian inspired squirrel dumplings, like with some soy sauce and everything.
Oh, like the big dumpling with
steamed
the
dumplings?
broth,
Yeah.
and then the squirrel's inside the dumpling.
We've been on a kick at that at the house. Like
Yeah.
that's been one of my favorite things to eat here lately. And
So how do you serve that up?
you'd have to. So I would probably throw the squirrel on a pellet grill, get some flavor on it, and then put it in the broth until it just completely falls apart. And then there's your stuffing for your dumpling. And so mix it with some green onion, a little bit of that crunchy garlic, something like
all that
ginger,
stuff.
and then use your little wonton wrappers, steam them, and then just make a broth. And you could use the bones from the squirrel to make the broth.
You'd make squirrel bone broth?
Might as well. I mean, it can't be bad.
I don't know.
If you get
Seems
it
like it'd be. You'd have to skim it real good. That's what I don't like about the way it looks. Like foam gets coming up.
I don't.
Well,
Where's that come from?
Dumplings, that's what I do is just boil the whole squirrel and use all the broth out of it.
You do. So you add that as your starter for your.
You can let it cool and separate it, no problem.
Yeah.
I mean, if I ain't got enough, you use a little chicken
broth.
stock, but
Yeah.
most of it is squirrel broth.
But you're right. Why does wild game foam up?
Yeah, put that
chicken
foam.
don't ever foam up like
Not
that.
like that.
No.
I mean,
You boil deer meat, it puts that old soap
Skimmy foam,
in
yeah.
It's got to be because
yeah.
it ain't got no oil in it. Like no fat.
Fat
Maybe
cooking
so.
out something.
Because oil is going to keep it from foaming. So you think, chicken, you cook all that chicken skin down, it's going to put oil on top of the water.
I put a dang old bathtub soap scum ring around the
Yeah.
pot.
Oh, it sure does. It's nasty.
Skim it off with a spoon.
Yeah. So what's yours, Mikey?
Man, if it's 80% squirrel, I'm in trouble because I would have done the regular squirrel and dumplings, but that,
Yeah. No, I mean, that would count, I think.
think it would
Yeah,
count?
yeah.
Ain't no way you'd have.
because you got dumplings, you
Dumplings.
got all that vegetable in there and a lot of stock
Yeah.
in there. So
I don't know. That's a good question. Would you consider, if you were judging that, would you say, it depends on how much squirrel meat they had in the serving container.
if it was 80% had to be made with squirrel, then the stock would count as that 80%.
Yeah, that's true too.
But
I
if it's
wonder-
like 80% squirrel meat,
I bet it's 80% meat has to be squirrel. 'cause
Maybe that's what it is. You can use
'cause,
other meat too.
You make squirrel ravioli, squirrel and dumplings.
yeah.
You got other things. As long as it ain't 50% squirrel, 50% bacon.
Yeah,
I think it's 80%
Or
squirrel
you done
meat.
cut it with ground beef
Right,
and
right.
added
If you
some
done
squirrel
some-
to it.
We're all like hot wing, chicken wing.
Like fried hot wing style in Buffalo.
Buffalo
That
rat
might not be
wings.
bad.
squirrel, I probably would try a squirrel and dumpling, but my favorite way to eat squirrel is smothered in gravy.
Yeah.
You fry them. Well, usually I'll boil them in the crock pot and let them get to where they're real tender, and then pull them out and flash fry them, get a crust on them, and then drop them in that gravy and just let them.
You cut them up in
simmer.
pieces, or you do them whole?
No, they're quartered. You got
Quartered
5
up
pieces. You
pieces.
got 2 front legs, 2 back legs, and the bag.
Yeah.
What's yours?
I'm thinking sausage.
See, I was sitting there
grinding
thinking
it.
about
See,
that.
y'all got me to thinking.
You
I'm
know how many
thinking about
squirrels it would take to make 5 pounds of sausage?
take a bunch of squirrel, wouldn't it? But I was thinking about some kind of sausage. That would be different. Squirrel sausage.
Do
And
that,
then
or
you
like-
could do whatever with it. You could, it could be almost like bratwurst style or Italian sausage style or breakfast sausage.
I guarantee
style
you're
or
gonna get
something
some
like
kind
that.
of like
fat with that. That squirrel.
Yeah,
would be
you'd
so
have to put pork fat with it. So that's where, but that
Your
could be
80.
your 80-20 right there. So 80-20 squirrel sausage might be pretty good.
I could see where you're gonna get something with boudin or something along those lines.
Rice,
I bet.
yeah.
Or some
Get
dirty
some-
rice.
You're going to get some tacos.
Egg
Yeah.
rolls, probably
Yeah.
something with cream cheese. I would
Yeah.
imagine. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I'll give y'all the full report next
There'll be
week on
some
how that
unique
went.
smells. I guarantee.
It might be a fast.
Better
We
take
might,
you some
we
Pepto.
might be making that 5-hour trip back quick, Mikey. That's how that squirrel sits. Yeah, take a
I
bucket.
take your blue bucket.
Oh
some
yeah, I
Pepto,
wonder if I still.
TK and
Hicks
Mike.
bucket.
Yeah, the one with the toilet paper and the lid glued to the top
Yeah.
of it.
I got one, don't I, Jamie? It ain't got the fancy
I
stuff.
got the
It's
blue
just got
bucket.
a,
He used to haul around.
blue bucket with a toilet seat lid.
Yeah, it comes out of the box stand. Talking about, I didn't use it. Well, what's it doing up there with you?
Well,
Oh no, I've had to use it twice. Those are bad biscuit mornings there.
No, I want to go get you out of Hilltop, and I got out. You was getting out of the stand. You said, "Here, take this." I was like, "Hell no, I ain't
I didn't
taking
use
that."
it in the stand. Like, so the way those hay bales used
I
to be
ain't
set
finna
up,
take that.
you take it.
You know, you looked in there, Mark.
Yeah,
see
no,
something in
He
there.
I mean,
pulled out
I ain't-
swinging that bucket. I
I
said,
ain't
"Nope."
fool enough to use it in the stand, but it take it. There's some mornings you like, I might ought to take this with me, just in case.
The thing is, don't leave the bottom in the bucket. Cut the bottom of the bucket out.
Oh, no,
That
this
way when
was-
you get out of the stand, you just go over there and you
Yeah,
pick the bucket up.
that's a good
Nothing's-
idea too.
Nothing's in it or
Well, see,
touching it.
y'all
You can
are-
move.
This one has biodegradable bag. It goes down in it, and it's got this chemical in it.
Oh,
And that's
God.
why you just, and it's got a zip top. So when you get through doing your business, you just pick it up, close it, zip top it,
but why not?
throw
If
it in the
you-
trash.
So you got out of stand with the bucket.
Why not
No
just go in
bear.
the stand where the heater's at?
Yeah, and then
Because
when
you
I-
got to sit in there with that.
yeah, but you had the bucket back in the stand with you.
No,
so-
not after it was used.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not
It's
after
like
it was
you're about to
used.
poop back in the stand.
No,
with
you leave it outside. Then you go.
Your logistics ain't making sense.
So when I got there that morning, I just took it up with me. And then that was in case. I was going, but I get down and
And
use
the case
it.
came.
Yeah.
you got to
Not
lose
that
seat
morning. That
warm.
morning it didn't.
I still wasn't grabbing your bucket. You come out swinging that bucket. No, I ain't messing with that.
It's heavy.
I'll take your gun.
Give me the
Yeah.
gun.
Yeah.
Give me the gun. Here, I'm going to drop
I don't
this
want
to
what
you.
you done fired
Catch it, Mark. I'm going to drop it to you. Catch it.
You know, that'd be so dirty. You get up here with dressing a deer and you got that old zipped up bag. Man, Waylon, open this freezer bag for me.
Oh, man. Yeah, it'd be rough.
Oh, there's
That
something
would
about
be
down
rough.
here. If I hunt down here, I'm about to have to go find a tree every time. It gets me.
I snuck up on you one time. I didn't know what you
Yeah,
was
for Malcolm
doing.
be a big guy. He can't lock her in stealth mode.
Is that that's a new thing we got to put under every stand now, I guess. A bucket with a lid on it, with a commode seat on it. Bring your
Jacob's
paper.
over there like, what the heck are y'all talking about?
Oh, I knew that day was I was supposed to get out. I don't remember 11 o'clock or whatever.
Yeah.
My stomach was hurting. I got out a little early. Went over, put my stuff in the Can-Am, walked over behind a tree. Man, I mean, I was like, I done done my business, pulled my pants on, trying to look, and there was Big Malcolm in an orange vest. Now, how in the heck?
I didn't
5
even know.
yards
And I had
from
no idea you were there.
He didn't see me. I didn't see him. We both
Yeah.
just pooped each other.
Yeah, I was coming back around because we were apart, not too far from there, and so I done eased up. And I was like, well, maybe James. I couldn't see you. I said he's still sitting in the stands. I can see the stand over there.
I hid behind a tree.
Yeah, you surprised me because I was going to hope I'd jump something out, push it back
did.
his way. I jumped Jamie out. Yeah,
Did y'all make eye contact and speak?
no, man, he was like,
I was done.
well, see,
Run away.
he saw me before I ever saw him though. 'Cause he didn't have his orange on.
No, I done pulled my pants
Yeah.
up. I was good to go.
Oh, yeah.
I
He
was
said,
done.
"Hey," and I looked. And I was like, "Oh, you right there." So what are you doing?
What'd you see?
He said, "You about caught me." That was a good spot, though. It was like surrounded.
hunt or poop?
To take one if you had to, I guess.
You know, do you do that though when you're out there? You're like, I mean, you know, you're only placed on a person around, but you're like,
Yeah.
make sure ain't somebody else around before
Oh,
my
yeah.
doors out in the woods.
Gee,
I've had that. I had to lean up on a tree thing. You constantly looking around. Hey, when nature calls, you got to go.
you got to go. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Me and Randy were turkey hunting way back in the government woods one time. Nobody else was out there with us.
You didn't think.
I wasn't thinking. No, I was like, nobody's out here. We didn't see no trucks parked at the access area, so I dropped down on the side of the trail. 4 people walked by me.
Did you just stay tucked
Nothing
down?
I could do. I mean, they come by. I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" They just kept. They look over like, "Whoa," and they wouldn't make eye contact with me. And they kept going.
What are you
I
doing?
mean, I was just exposed. I was just, no more. I was like, I'm here.
At that
man.
time,
I'm
it
sorry.
ain't like you're normal either. It's like it's probably an emergency. You have to do that. Yeah.
It wasn't. It was one of the ones I was sweating looking for a tree. I was like, golly, where's a good one?
Lord help me with
Yeah, there was probably turkey hunting stuff all down the trail while I was peeling it off. Shotgun, like dropping breadcrumbs. They walked up on me.
Oh, well, gentlemen, that does it for today. We'll be back next week, and we're going to give you a full report, right, Mikey?
On the squirrel.
And hopefully y'all
contest.
come back, give a full report on winning another barbecue contest up there in Illinois.
Go up there and collect us an orchard.
There you go. But Mark, tell everybody where they can find us.
Y'all check us out. Of course, we brought it up last week. We got the Sportsman Condos out there at Malcom Shop. So y'all make sure if y'all in the area looking for a stand, come check them out. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, of course, all the podcast platforms. And as always, if y'all got questions, let us know.
Well, we will be back next week. But for right now, we gone.